Title: After years of marriage, I discovered the ones my husband and son loved were not me but my half-sister. Chapter 1: Lila's Perfect Illusion. Lila Harper gazed out of the window of her cozy suburban home, watching as snowflakes danced down from the overcast sky. It was a scene she often found comforting, especially during the holidays. Nathan, her husband, had always been a source of warmth and charisma in her life. She recalled their whirlwind romance, a love that blossomed in college and eventually led to marriage. Now, a decade later, Lila found herself in a routine, but it felt comfortable. Yet, beneath the surface, a tension simmered. Nathan often spoke of his first love, Alyssa, with an air of nostalgia that made Lila's heart ache. She dismissed it as mere reminiscence, not realizing how much his past still loomed over their present. Despite Lila's devotion to her husband and their 9-year-old son, Ethan, she felt increasingly overshadowed by Alyssa's memory. Nathan's family adored Alyssa, and Lila often found herself comparing her worth to the idealized version of her half-sister. They believed Alyssa was an angel, someone who could do no wrong. Meanwhile, Lila battled feelings of inadequacy, convinced she was merely a placeholder in Nathan's life. The cracks in her seemingly perfect marriage began to widen, and Lila sensed she was losing her place in the hearts of her family. Chapter 2: The Shadow of Alyssa. As Lila prepared dinner one evening, her thoughts were interrupted by Ethan's animated chatter about a school project. She smiled, grateful for the simple joy of motherhood, but soon the conversation turned to a story about his favorite aunt, Alyssa. "Mom, why can't we go visit Aunt Alyssa more often?" Ethan asked innocently. Lila's smile faltered as she felt a pang of jealousy. Nathan, overhearing, chimed in, "Alyssa is just so busy, buddy. But she loves you very much." His words stung, and Lila's heart sank as she realized how easily her son was swayed by Alyssa's charm. Days turned into weeks, and Lila noticed how Alyssa's influence crept further into their lives. The family gatherings were filled with stories of Alyssa's heroic deeds, how she volunteered at shelters and organized community events. Each tale served as a reminder of Lila's perceived shortcomings. Despite her efforts to be the supportive wife and mother, Lila felt herself growing more isolated. She longed for Nathan's approval and Ethan's affection, but Alyssa's shadow loomed large, dimming her light. Chapter 3: The Breaking Point. The tipping point came on a cold winter night when news broke that Alyssa had attempted suicide. Lila's heart raced with confusion and concern, but Nathan's response shattered her. "I need to be there for her, Lila. She needs me," he said, already gathering his things. Lila felt a swell of panic as he rushed to grab Ethan. "We'll be back soon," Nathan reassured her, but the weight of his words crushed her spirit. Alone in the house, Lila spiraled into a whirlwind of despair, feeling abandoned by the very people she had devoted herself to. On the road to the hospital, Ethan, fueled by Alyssa's manipulation, lashed out at Lila. "You're the reason Dad is always sad," he screamed, his innocent face twisted with anger. In a moment of rage, Ethan snatched Lila's phone, throwing it out the window, and when she tried to reason with him, he pushed her out of the car onto a snowy road. Lila stumbled, her thin clothes offering little protection against the biting cold. Her pregnancy added to her vulnerability as she dragged her feet through the snow, each step echoing her despair. The cold seeped into her bones, and as she collapsed, clutching her belly, she felt the life within her slipping away. Chapter 4: Loss and Awakening. Lila awoke in the hospital, disoriented and in pain. The sterile white walls were a stark contrast to the warmth she once felt at home. A doctor entered, delivering the heartbreaking news: she had lost her baby. Waves of grief washed over her, and in that moment, everything became clear. Lila realized that for years, she had put everyone's needs above her own while being slowly suffocated by her family's favoritism toward Alyssa. The memories of Nathan's betrayal and Ethan's cruelty replayed in her mind, cementing her decision to leave. In the days that followed, Lila found herself reflecting on the past 10 years. She had sacrificed so much for a family that didn't value her. With each painful realization, her resolve strengthened. She contacted a lawyer, drafting divorce papers with a sense of clarity she had never felt before. It was time to reclaim her life. Lila resolved to sever ties with Nathan and Ethan, realizing that they would never appreciate her love as long as Alyssa remained an active part of their lives. Chapter 5: The Divorce and Its Fallout. The day Lila served Nathan with the divorce papers was a whirlwind of emotions. Nathan was blindsided, his face contorting from shock to anger. "You can't be serious, Lila. What about our family?" he exclaimed, desperation creeping into his voice. Lila stood firm, her heart pounding but her resolve unyielding. "I deserve better than to be a second choice, Nathan. I won't let Alyssa tear our family apart anymore." Ethan watched from a distance, confusion and hurt reflected in his eyes. The betrayal cut deeper than she expected. Lila had hoped for a heartfelt plea, but instead, Nathan's anger manifested as a torrent of blame. News of the divorce spread like wildfire through Nathan's family. They rallied around him, casting Lila as the villain who was abandoning her husband and son. "She's always been jealous of Alyssa," they whispered, conveniently forgetting Lila's years of dedication and sacrifice. Alone in her new apartment, Lila fought against the weight of isolation. Yet, amidst the darkness, she found glimmers of hope, a supportive neighbor, a budding friendship, and a chance to rediscover herself. Chapter 6: Lila's Journey to Independence. As the weeks turned into months, Lila began to rebuild her life. She secured a job at a local bookstore, immersing herself in the world of literature and storytelling. Each book became a refuge, allowing her to escape the painful reality of her past. Lila also sought therapy, confronting her trauma and processing the years of emotional neglect. With each session, she shed the weight of guilt and shame, learning to embrace her identity beyond being Nathan's wife or Ethan's mother. Through her newfound independence, Lila developed friendships with women who inspired her. They shared stories of resilience and empowerment, encouraging Lila to embrace her strengths. As she discovered her passions, painting, writing, and engaging in community service, Lila blossomed. Slowly, she began to understand that she was deserving of love and respect, a revelation that sparked a fire within her. Each day brought new challenges, but Lila faced them with courage, determined to reclaim her happiness. Chapter 7: Nathan's Realization. Back in the city, Nathan was consumed by guilt as he navigated the aftermath of the divorce. He found it increasingly difficult to cope with the truth about Alyssa. The facade she had maintained for years began to crack, and he stumbled upon her deceitful actions, how she had deliberately manipulated Ethan against Lila, how she had spun tales of victimhood that kept Nathan tethered to her. Ethan, too, began to change. As he grappled with his feelings of anger toward Lila, he started to question the loyalty he had shown Alyssa. He began connecting the dots, seeing how Alyssa had pitted him against his mother, using him as a pawn in her game. Nathan's heart ached with regret. He realized he had neglected the very woman who had devoted herself to their family. The weight of his choices bore down on him, and he was left with the haunting memories of Lila's warmth, kindness, and unwavering love. Chapter 8: The Truth About Alyssa. The turning point came when Nathan overheard Alyssa in a phone conversation with a friend. Her words dripped with malice as she downplayed her manipulation, boasting about how easy it was to control Nathan and Ethan. The realization hit him like a slap in the face. Alyssa had not only ruined his marriage but had also twisted the minds of those he loved. The betrayal cut deep, igniting a fire within Nathan to confront the woman who had deceived him. Nathan confronted Alyssa, shaking with anger and disbelief. "You've lied to me this whole time. You've destroyed my family," he shouted, his voice echoing in their empty home. Alyssa, caught off guard, initially tried to maintain her composure, but the facade crumbled as Nathan pushed her to reveal her true colors. She attempted to twist the narrative, claiming Nathan had neglected her, but he was no longer buying into her manipulation. Their confrontation culminated in Nathan cutting all ties with her, determined to protect Ethan and himself from her toxic influence. Chapter 9: Nathan's Redemption Attempt. Haunted by his past decisions, Nathan reached out to Lila, desperation lacing his words. "I need to talk to you, Lila. I've made so many mistakes," he pleaded over the phone. But Lila, now fortified by her independence, was hesitant. She had rebuilt her life and was no longer the woman who would take Nathan back without a fight. As they met in a coffee shop, the tension was palpable. Nathan's sincerity shone through as he expressed his deep regret, acknowledging the pain he had caused. "I let Alyssa manipulate me, and I pushed you away," he admitted, his voice breaking. Lila listened, torn between the love she once held for him and the scars of betrayal. "Nathan, you chose her over me and Ethan," she replied, her tone steady yet pained. The confrontation was cathartic for both of them. They discussed their son, acknowledging the hurt he had endured during their tumultuous years. The conversation opened the door to forgiveness, but Lila remained cautious, knowing healing would take time. Chapter 10: The Path to Healing. Over the following months, Lila and Nathan began to co-parent Ethan more effectively. The bond between Lila and her son strengthened as they navigated their new reality. Nathan learned to respect Lila's boundaries while gradually regaining her trust. Ethan, witnessing his parents working together, slowly began to mend his relationship with Lila. Their conversations shifted from resentment to understanding, as he realized the manipulation he had faced. Lila started inviting Nathan to family events, encouraging him to build a healthier relationship with Ethan. The trio created new memories, forging a bond that transcended the past. Nathan took every opportunity to show Lila how much he appreciated her resilience. He stepped back, allowing Lila to shine as a mother and an individual. The transition was gradual, filled with moments of tension, laughter, and vulnerability, but it was worth every struggle. Chapter 11: A New Beginning. As the seasons changed, so did Lila's life. She found solace in her passions, art classes, community involvement, and writing, allowing her creativity to flourish. She published her first collection of short stories, drawing from her experiences and celebrating the strength she had gained. Her words resonated with many, inspiring others to reclaim their lives after hardship. Nathan, now aware of his shortcomings, fully supported Lila's endeavors. He stood by her side at her book launch, feeling a sense of pride in her achievements. Lila's success was a testament to her resilience, and she felt empowered in her newfound independence. As she navigated this new chapter, she realized that healing was a journey, not a destination. Chapter 12: The Unbreakable Bond. In the closing chapters, Lila, Nathan, and Ethan create a new family dynamic rooted in respect and understanding. They face challenges together, sharing laughter and tears as they rebuild their lives. The healing process isn't linear, but they learn to lean on each other, recognizing the strength found in vulnerability. Lila finally embraces the love she deserves, realizing her worth transcends her past. With Nathan's unwavering support, she steps into her future with confidence, leaving behind the shadows of betrayal and heartbreak. Their story concludes with a heartfelt reunion, a celebration of their journey and a promise to honor each other's growth, symbolizing a new beginning forged through resilience and love.